Hello? Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If this is the first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get notification every single time that I post a video, and I post every single week. As you can see from the title, today's video is finally my full review with spoilers of The Black Phone. I had the chance to watch it today, Thursday, June 23, but you're going to be watching this on Friday. That is when it's going to be officially released on the US. Now, as always, on my reviews are with spoilers. If you don't want them, just to see if this was worth it or not, in the description box down below, you're going to find my spoiler-free review because I like to give you guys the two options. And given that little talk and disclaimer ahead, let's get into the video. Now, I cannot tell how excited I was for this film. Ever since the film was announced, probably, I think it was last year, I don't even remember. But ever since I saw the first teaser and the trailer and the cast, I knew that this is going to be good. Finally, the time has come. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest. I am hell excited. I was, and I'm still excited. And I am still thinking about this movie. I came out of the movie theater hours ago, and I am still thinking about this film. If you already saw the film, probably you're going to see the resemblance of the shirt because I had the same shirt as her, and I could not believe that. I am not wearing the poncho because I am hot enough with this because there's no air conditioning right now and it's hot as hell. So I am doing the best I can. Now I'm going to be telling you what I like it, what I dislike it, and of course a brief summary. So let's get into it. But first, the plot. Now, The Black Phone follows Finny Sean, a shy but clever 13-year-old boy that is abducted by a sadistic killer and trapped in a soundproof basement where screaming is a little abused. When a disconnected phone on the wall begins to ring, Finny discovers that he can hear the voices of the killer's previous victims. Now, the film is 1 hour and 43 minutes long, and it's protagonized by Ethan Hawke as the grabber that it's the sadistic killer, and he's the one wearing the mask. So I knew as the moment that I saw him that this is going to be good. He's a really good actor. And we have Mason Thames as Finn, that is the kid protagonist, basically next to his sister Gwen, but he gets to be the main character here next to the grabber. Now the film starts in 1978 in Colorado, a baseball game. We have Finn and we have other kids, and we see a little bit of all the kids that are going to be important on the story since there are a lot of kids throughout the film. And something that I like it about the film is that we get to see just a little bit about the future victims. If you saw the trailer, probably you're going to recognize the faces of the kids because of the posters and the scenes. If not, there's going to be okay because eventually you're going to realize which ones are going to be the victims. Now, Finn, he struggles a little bit in school. He gets bullied by 3 kids. He gets always the help by his friend Robin. But he tells him something that is going to be important, and is that eventually he's going to need to defend himself. Now, Finn is a baseball player, and they lose the game that is shown at the beginning, but a boy from the other team tells him, like, you have a really good arm. And this particular phrase next to what Robin is saying to him, it's that he needs to defend himself and that he has a good arm. These are phrases that are going to be kind of important at some point of the film. So basically we have him with his sister Gwen, and we get to know how's the house environment of Gwen and Finn. His mother is dead, and their father, he is alcoholic. So of course we know that the environment is not good. The reality, I think that the father is an ass. I'm sorry, I didn't like the father. So we get to see how each kid is adopted until eventually it gets to Finn. Now, Finn's sister's one is a subplot on the film since she has some psychic abilities, and she basically dreams things that can be clues for, of course, the case. And she tells to one of the victim's sister about the dream that she had about her brother. And the police gets to talk to her, and she tells him some details that, of course, none of the public knew, only her and, of course, the police. So, of course, they start questioning her as to why she knows that. Of course, they don't believe her. And Finn, he's sleeping, he got sleep watching TV, and that night, since on Friday she gets to be with her friend at the house, assuming that it's Saturday morning, we hear screamings and crying. This was a scene that, I'm not gonna lie, was kind of uncomfortable since I am not really into kids and violence. Like, I don't think that that's something good. We don't need to be violent with kids, but I understand why this scene was put on. That girl did an amazing performance, and all the kids. Something that I want to say straight away is that I knew from the start that Ethan Hawke was going to be doing a good performance, but the kids, they did it too. I felt just like with it chapter 1 and 2, the kids, I think that they were perfectly cast, and in the same here, it was a really good choice when it comes to the cast. They all did a really good job, although most of the kids, they have a little time on the screen, but that was enough. So Gwen is being basically slapped by the father with a belt. The screams of that girl and the way that she's crying, it felt very real. And of course, points for that because it definitely felt very real. Something that also felt very real is the way that they acted, like accepting, like saying yes, just like everything can stop, like everything. They felt like they were kids, not kids but written by adults. Like sometimes kids and the script and the situations and how they act, sometimes they don't fit. Here I think that they fit perfectly, because although they know that kids has been adopted, when it comes to Finn, he knows, and he knows that he's not supposed to be talking with strangers. Of course, the grabber gets to him because he passed himself as a magician and has some black balloons, and Finn recognizes the black balloons, and but it's too late. And then is when officially he is now away from everyone and just with the grabber. We could say that these ones are like the first 15 to 20 minutes. We get to know his family situation. We get to see how his, when it comes socially on the school, his relationship with his sister. They have a really good bond and a good relationship, and definitely helps when it comes to Finn situation. Moving on the film, and how is everything happening. So we got the introduction officially of the grabber. We never really get to see his face, although we know who he is as an actor. We know how he looks, but he never really showed his face until like maybe the end that his mask is taken away, but like maybe 2 seconds. But we never see his face, so only we have his body language, his voice, and his eyes. And with only that, he was able to do a good performance. He was creepy as hell. He would change the voice and like the pitch. Sometimes he will talk really high, and sometimes like he will go lower. He will go like something like with humor, maybe trying to be funny, but then he will get like really creepy and like intimidating. So he really played with that and definitely fit. At some point, there are parts that are kind of funny. At some point, he gets with food to Finn, and he's like, "What you put on it?" And he's like, "Salt and pepper." So I think that the humor was really fitting in, although sometimes it can take away from the horror, like the atmosphere. But I think that really fits since it shows how a psychopath this man is. Now, of course, the main thing here is the phone ringing. It's something that happens right away. So it's not like we have days of Finn being trapped for the phone to start ringing. So it's pretty quick. And he recognizes, of course, the kids that are talking on the phone, since we have 5 victims. Since, of course, they were in the newspaper, like I said, some of them were kind of friends. He recognizes the voices and who they are. Now, while he's talking on the phone with the kids, basically the ghosts are there. He can see them, but the ghost can see him. And we, as the audience, we can see the ghost, and we can see how they kind of die, or their state of how they are. Like, you know, ghosts, they don't always look like good. Sometimes they can look with a lot of blood. The first kid had like this huge wound here on his face. And basically, they are telling him what they did in order to try to escape. But of course, since they died, they didn't make it on time. We learn throughout the film that this is a game for him, because at some point, he leaves the door unlocked. And you may be thinking, oh, this is the time to escape. But no, the phone rings. And the second kid that is talking is like, don't go, is a trap. He's waiting for you in a chair with a belt, because he's playing what is called the naughty boy game. He just wants to punish the boy. They never really get into the full reason while he's doing this, what's the reason behind it, what's the trauma. They never really get into that. You can only assume that maybe he has some issues going on, because you see the pattern of the kids that he's taking away and what is happening. But all of them, they try to escape and to survive in different ways. All 5 of them, they give different ideas and resources to Finn, and eventually he used them all to, of course, trying to escape and to survive this. I don't really know how much days they passed, but I can assume that they were like 2 or 3 days. They weren't that long. They never really also specify how much time is passing between the victims, so we can assume that maybe it can be weeks or maybe a few months, just a bit, but they don't really specify. Now, while all of this is happening, we have Wen that is having dreams and having these visions, and she's able eventually to connect the dots and to really have like a strong clue, and I wouldn't call it evidence, but she knows where he is. She is able to see the number of the house, the door. She's able to see the 5 boys. She's able to even get to the same moment where one of the kids is talking to Finn on the phone. We have him, the kid, talking. Finn is listening to him, and she's also listening to the same. So it's kind of a type of bond here, supernatural. They never really gets into her abilities, but we get to assume that was something from her mother, since her father tells her that, of course, the mother had the same thing and she's dead, and we can assume that she committed suicide. Now, something about Wen, I liked her a lot because she's really funny too. She gets to pray. She has this dollhouse. She has her Bible and has a cross, and she will get on her knees and she will pray for the dreams or the type of stuff like, to help me, God, at some point, since she's not having dreams. She gets on her knees, she has the cross between her hands, and she's like, Jesus, what the fuck? What the hell? You're not giving me... Let me tell you, I'll laugh a lot because you can feel her frustration, how she had in some doubts in her faith because God is not responding in the way that she wants him to respond. But eventually she's like, I'm sorry, you're real, please help me. Like, it's a funny thing on kids. So I really like her personality. She defends Finn from the bullies at some point, and she's basically hitting one of them with a rock on the head, and he's bleeding a lot. And this is once again just another way of representing of the bond between the brother and the sister. Now eventually Finn is able to escape the house, but he doesn't get away too far, and the grabber takes him once again back to the house. And we never really see like the front of the house or any details on which part of the neighborhood he's in. Of course, this is made on purpose since the police is visiting some houses, but we don't know which house it is until it's eventually shown this shot that we have him in the basement, and when the camera goes up, kind of passes like the floor, and then we see the living room and the person that it's in, that the person is unaware that his brother is the grabber and has this kid, because like the basement is soundproof, so he doesn't know a thing. But the police was in that house. So once we have everything completed, when she calls the police, and at the same time we have Finn mastering his plan to escape, because like I said, he's basically taking what the other kids told him, what they tried to do but didn't work, and he's eventually able to create this massive plan to basically escape and being able to survive. For a moment it gets really intense. The last scene of the grabber and Finn, basically we have him making everything set up so that he can defend himself. He took the phone and put it sand on it because he basically made a dig and a hole on the ground, and he took that, and so it's heavier. So basically I'm taking my phone here, so this is plastic, so this is very lightweight, but he unscrewed this part and he put it sand so that he can like swing and like give on the head. This must hurt, like this is plastic, but definitely has to hurt to be like on the head. At this point, he's basically not playing. He's not trying to be the naughty boy. He never tries. He's always looking some ways to escape since he's having the help that the other kids didn't have. So he succeeds on his plan, but let me tell you that this is a really intense but a good scene. It really builds up like the tension to this moment, and we can really feel how Finn it's dealing with the emotions, because at first, of course, he's like, I need to get out of here. Then he's like, well, maybe I need to think things a little bit and maybe being more smart and get out of here alive. And since because of the calls, he's also able to handle a little bit. But once he realizes that nothing is working, he gets to a corner of the room and starts like heavy crying. Once again, the kid did such an amazing job. You can really feel his frustration, his fear, his hope, and then how he's losing it, and maybe the acceptation that he's going to die. And everything combines together, and one of the kids that it's robbing once again is telling him he's the one that gave him the idea of the sand. He's like, I am your last call. Now it's on you. You need to defend yourself. And he starts remembering what the other kid said about having a good arm. Of course, he uses that on his advantage, and he's able to kill the grabber. He knocks him a lot of times on the head with the phone, and with the cable, he strangles him. He's strong enough to do it because of his arm. And he's able to get out of the house. At the same time, the police is on the house, but it's on the front because the grabber had two houses. In one of the houses had the victim, and on the other one had the bodies. So we have Gwen that is with the police because she leads them to the house. And we have Finn that is coming out of the house, and we see her like, oh my god, he is alive, and she runs through him. We have all the police moving to the other house, and they have this hug, and I'm like, I'm so happy that this is a happy ending. I am so happy about it. I was rooting for you, Finn. Basically, the movie ends with Finn returning to school, and everyone is like talking behind him like, here's the kid that's arrived, and all the thing. The bullies are like scared of him, and you can see the confidence he has. A character development that is not usually seen a lot in kids. Like, it's not the usual thing, but I really liked this, and he's more confident. And basically the movie ends with him sitting on his biology class next to his crush. And she's like, it's nice to see you once again, Finny. I think that it's the way that it's pronounced, his full name. And he's like, call me Finn. And like smiling and with confidence. And because he knows that nothing, like he knows that he needs to defend himself. But it's also the type of situation where, you know, I survived this, I can survive anything. And that's how the movie ends. It was perfect. In my opinion, I love this movie a lot. I loved the story. I love the acting, the interpretations of everything, the music. So beautiful. Visually, I think that the film makes a really good job into making you think that it's a 70s situation. Of course, it's not the same with films like X or House of the Devil, both by Ty West, where the film it's filmed in a way that you can really feel that was made on the 70s. Here not. Here you know that it's a mimic of the 70s, but still I think that they did a pretty good job. Now it has some jump scares once in there, but they don't abuse about that. They don't abuse about the dark light situations. And of course this is something that we have seen before. Of course, someone being adopted and trying to escape. But it felt so real. Something that I said when I saw the trailer and talking about this film before was how real was going to feel, because these are real situations. This is something that people live. I just hope that not every day, but people get missing, kids so specifically to get killed on the 17th. We have all the documentaries, we have all the serial killers. Like this was something pretty common. So I can't imagine how hard and the horror of living in this time knowing that you can get killed and kidnapped and God knows what else. So of course we know that all of this can happen, adds to the realistic feeling. And in my personal opinion, I think that the more real a film feels, the better it is when it comes to horror. So like I said, for me, this film, it was amazing. The only downside, maybe just a little bit, is that I was expecting the backstory of the grabber, but I am not bothered the reality about it. Sometimes we don't really have a killer with a sole purpose. Maybe he's just a psychopath. But like I said, Ethan Hawke basically gave us a really good performance without having to use his full face, because you know the face can give you like the whole emotions, but he only had to use his eyes or his body language and the tone of his voice. That was enough. The kids, all of them, they did such a good job. I mean, I would love to see the skits in other films. Not stop saying it. Like seriously, I was so impressed. Something bad, like I said, maybe that we didn't have the backstory, but like I said, it doesn't bother me. So for me, this one it's a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 5. I mean, that was pretty obvious, I think. So this film definitely is, in my opinion, one of the best horror films of this year so far. But the reality is that with the films that we have left on the year, I think that the film is going to stay at least on the top 10. Maybe not the top 5, I don't know. I have a list already of my top 10's favorites so far of this year. That video will be coming at the end of the month. So basically it's next week. Because I feel like I want to talk a little bit about the ones that I feel are the best ones like by so far, although it might be some of them a little bit obvious, maybe others you haven't watched them, so this is the moment. But definitely I enjoyed this film a lot. I would love for Blumhouse or for someone to sell The Mask. I mean, it's a beautiful piece of decoration. I mean, I can make space. I actually have my wall that I have right here that you're not seeing it. I have my tree mask of The Nightmare Before Christmas, so definitely I can make some space. And even for cosplay or a costume, just an idea, but definitely it's a hell of an easy costume for Halloween, just the black balloons. He gets his face painted at some point, but if they sell the mask, that will be amazing, because that will make a hell of a creepy costume, but so good and original also. So it's a niche costume, but it will be good. And well, I think that this is all. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about this film. Did you like it? I know that there's some people that didn't like this film. If you didn't, why? I'm really curious to know why you didn't. I mean, we're all entitled to our opinions, but still, I want to know if you like it, if you didn't, you're planning on watching it, what do you thought? Let me know. And well, I think that this is all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on my next video. Bye.